Hello and welcome back to, I would say, the allotment, but we're not quite there yet. It's a gorgeous sunny day. It's 3 p.m. now in the afternoon and the sun has been pretty much shining all day, which is just such a treat because I think for anyone who lives in the UK knows it has been really grey for quite a long time now, and we've had a lot of rain, so it's just beautiful to have some extra light. You will have just seen a few clips of me transferring some plants from my mini wooden greenhouse over to a new little addition to the garden. It's a glass house from Crocus. I actually found it on Waitrose.com, but it was a Waitrose Crocus collaboration, I think, and I ordered it, oh gosh, the start of the year now is a little treat, and I put off assembling it for ages, and then opened the box up and realised it was already assembled in the separate parts. So it's really good, and I at the moment have popped some plants in there to just get some extra warmth and sunshine as they grow on, but I'm thinking it's going to be really good to keep in a sunny spot in the garden for my chilli plants this year because it's got quite a good height on it. Anyway, without further ado, let's go make the most of this sunny afternoon and head over to the allotment. Ooh, and one other thing to show you before we do head over to the allotment are some little seedlings that I've got hiding behind the sofa. Firstly, talking of peppers, I've got padron peppers in there which have sprouted up and are doing well. They need to be moved to some extra light now. Oh, Bruno's come to say hello as well. And then here I've got some sweet peppers, and this is new. Gosh, it needs a little dust now. I had this for my birthday from my dad, and it's a hydroponics system. I haven't used anything like this before, but I've got some kind of chilli and pepper seeds going in here, and they're doing pretty well. You feed the water through here, and that's how they get their nutrients. But I was kind of using it as a bit of a seed starter more than anything, but now I'm not quite sure what to do in terms of moving them to pots, because I think the double seeds have really intertwined together now, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to separate them or not, but it's a good experiment. And then what I'm going to do is maybe put some lettuce in here and actually use that to grow them on as well. So if anyone has any experience with hydroponics, please do drop any tips that you've got below, but it's all a bit of an experiment at the moment, and it does have a light and a lovely little trickling water feature, which isn't a water feature, but it makes a little noise as it circulates the water inside. Oh, feeling the sun on the face is just wonderful, and it's so joyous seeing all of the daffodils coming out now and the spring bulbs on their way. It's just a sign that spring is almost here. We're so close now, and on that note, let's go and get outside. First on my job list today is to cut back the autumn flowering or autumn fruiting raspberries. Okay, so all of these canes from here to where that buddleia is are raspberry canes. Oh, there's two little ladybirds resting there, so I'm going to actually be careful with this one, chop it down and just move it somewhere safe for them. So this is what they look like when they've gone over, and they just go all very woody and brittle. And what I'm going to do is actually just chop and drop them onto the floor there, and then I will add some mulch on top to try and suppress some of this grass and weeds. Last year I tried to go through by hand and weed it, but it's quite the job, so I'm going to just try a little bit of a different approach this year. In here is a rhubarb crown that I remember got absolutely smothered last year. So if I get time today, but maybe another day, I'm going to dig this out and relocate it, because the poor thing isn't going to grow here amongst all of these raspberries. What I will say is really try and be careful with your eyes when you're doing this, because they can easily poke you in the eye. There we go, that is all of the canes chopped down, and there's 3 piles of canes. I will keep the thicker ones because they're really good for like pea supports when they're young, and then I will probably chop and drop all of the others back on here and then mulch it with some manure. But I'm going to pile them up today and come back to that another day, because I would like to add some wood chip to the edge of this bed here.
Appalachian sunrise meets my skin. Even with my eyes still closed, I can feel it coming in. golden, I'll follow only golden, golden, golden things.
Oh wow, that's rotting down so nicely.
Mountain laurel high fives for miles in spring. Rainbow trout and hummingbird wing. Golden, I'll follow only golden, golden, golden things. Gold hair, gold rings, gold leaves, gold anything, golden, I'll follow only golden, golden, golden things.
So this wood chip is about a year old because I bought it this time last year to do the paths originally, and it was really big chunks. So over the year it's been in that container there and it's been rotting down really nicely. So I think at the bottom it's going to almost be lovely compost, but I really want to top up the beds with that this year because I'm hoping it will attract less slugs kind of as it's more rotted down than what it was like putting the big chunks on last year.
Walk up the river by my son. Feet step over splinters of the moon.
Right, that's another job well done for the day, and that has now stolen all of my energy. So there is two other things I want to do before I head home. One is quickly show you my garlic and onions properly, and two, do a bit of weeding over in the pallet collar beds in the far corner, because I've only been down 3 times in the last month or so, and they've been really short visits, and only once was when I actually did something, which was weed this bed, but I keep seeing that that's getting quite weedy over there. So oh, that's a very satisfying look seeing that fresh wood chip. So in here, I'm sorry, I'm not going to remove the netting, are my garlics. So I stupidly still haven't labelled each variety, so I really need to do that. But I've got 6 different types of varieties here, and then 3 elephant garlics there. So I'm so excited for garlic, and I really hope that it will do well this year. And then in the remainder of this bed are all onion sets. Radar is the variety, and I did, when I was weeding this, have to kind of push them in the soil a little bit because they'd kind of plopped, they'd fallen over on themselves, so their roots were kind of upended. So hopefully that hasn't done them any harm. Now what I can see there is it almost looks like some of these are splitting off into multiple bulbs from one garlic clove. Can you see that? Again, it would help if I knew the variety, because it just seems to be these 2 that are doing it, and the others aren't. And also this row are really tiny compared to the rest. So if your garlic is looking a little bit small, then hopefully just hold out and it will be on its way. It might just be a slower variety. Anyway, so yeah, really thrilled with how the garlic is getting on, and in this other bed is doing pretty well as well. So again, same story actually. I've got onions on this side and different varieties of garlic here, and I did say I hope I have the problem of too much garlic this year. That in the middle there is an old celeriac, which probably just needs to come out now, but it seems to be growing again, so I'm just leaving it be for now. Really quickly before I weed, I've got some cabbages that really need to get in the ground there, and these poor kales aren't doing so well. I've got a couple of cabbages and kales. These ones have hit the net, so they're kind of bending, which is a shame, but I'm torn between taking the net off and not, because I want to protect these cabbages in here. So next on the job list, which might be tomorrow if I come down again, is to put some manure down in this bed, ready for just feeding the soil a bit before planting. I'm happy to report that although they are incredibly wonky purple sprouting broccoli, I shall soon be picking purple sprouting broccoli. They've actually just sown some summer flowering purple sprouting broccoli as well, so I'm hoping that I can get kind of 2 different harvests throughout the year. But I think next time I come down, well, maybe not if it's tomorrow, but there'll be some purple sprouting ready to pick. Isn't that right, Bruno? Yes. I don't think he's a fan of purple sprouting broccoli. Very quick report on this raised bed. So the level has sunk quite a lot as expected, but the garlic and onion that I popped in here seems to be doing okay. The garlic Kingsland White has popped up there at the back. Looks a little bit sorry for itself, and I really do need to get building the second bed soon. But one thing at a time. This is a pot of fall garlics as well, and I did just put some manure on there, so they seem to be doing well. Okay, here are the 2 beds that I want to do a quick weed of before going. So I've got 3 cauliflowers there at the back, which are looking quite sad, I think. And then 3 cabbage, a red cabbage, and I think they probably might need moving, because I'm not sure they're going to do so well that close together and close to other things. Then you might recall a while ago I sowed some spinach, and this has come up well amongst lots of other weeds, so I'm going to weed this. And actually I could technically pick a few spinach leaves, but I am just going to let them grow on a little bit longer. And then in this bed is where I've got the asparagus, and naughtily I planted some beetroot in there, you might remember, and a few bits and bobs. Last year you're not meant to actually plant anything with asparagus because it doesn't like competition, so I probably will leave it alone this year. However, there are lots of weeds in here for some reason. I did sow a few radish, and I can see those are up, so I will kind of dodge those as I go. But right, enough nattering, let's get weeding. I finally remembered to bring my hoary knife down. So most of these, to be honest, are just pulling up nicely, and I'm just going to drop them on the surface and hope that they don't regrow and they rot down, and will help feed the soil. The hoary is good for long roots though, and I will not be putting that one back in. I'm honestly wondering whether this compost had lots of weed seed in it or something, because there is a lot of weeds in here. I've not had so many weeds in one place. That's the spinach. Wow, such a long root.